everyone, I am Julia AnchorHaven and this is episode 6 of my full disclosure diary. And I started making this diary because I was really going through trauma bond kind of integration and integrating parts of me that have been lost or forgotten and were now ready to come back. And it happened because I just acknowledged that there might be a trauma bond with somebody, a trauma twin, and even though I knew it to be true, it was like I'd not allowed myself to actually hear it or feel it. And even though I'd met that person and I knew there was a connection, but I'd not allowed myself to remember things that we might have experienced together. I'd only had a couple of memories come in of seeing that person in front of me and knowing that something else was going on there. So what sparked this series was me allowing myself to heal and to feel it, to really feel into my heart, and to allow myself to cry, to allow myself to acknowledge that everybody's journey is different. And even though I'm connected to this person in the programs, their journey is very different to my journey, and we may have been in the same projects and programs, and we may have even been kind of matched up and paired up with the same augmentations and been through the same kind of upgrades and things together and bonded together, but we're very different people. And even though when I look at that person I do see myself a lot, but we're on very different paths energetically. Our soul selves, even though similar, we have different missions, shall we say. And part of connecting to my galactic self recently, to a version of me that's come forward as a flame scribe, as a record keeper, as a sanctuary soul, I know that my journey is different to that other person's journey. And I'm not saying they're the only person that I was bonded to in these programs. I'm sure there's other dyads that will come forward over time. But this is the first one that I'm allowing myself to feel into, that connection between me and that person. So, and when I did just acknowledge, my body responded with emotions. And I don't always allow myself to experience a big range of emotions, because what I understand now is that my emotions get suppressed, and that's part of my programming. And I came across these questions today on Instagram, and somebody had posted that a German therapist had got their license revoked for asking questions of people that helped them within 30 minutes allegedly to resolve some trauma and things like that, and wounding. One of the first question is, who benefits from you thinking this way about yourself? So in this reality, in the here and now, in this matrix that we're all part of, we have a story. And that story is the family that we've been put into, the school we go to, the jobs we do, the friend circle we have, and that is our story. That's who we think we are. And the reality is very, very different. You are so much more than that version of you. There are multiple versions of you. There are galactic versions of you. There are versions of you that have lived thousands of lifetimes, going back millions of years and things like that. And as you get onto your Starseed, Lightworker, Light Warrior journey, you'll start to acknowledge and integrate these versions of you, or have them in your support team and things like that. So who benefits from you thinking this way about yourself? So if you were to think of a part of your life that you are not happy about, something you've been told, a core belief of who you are, is it true? Are you that person? Is that your name? My name, Julia, has never felt like my name. And in the ACIO files, there's even a birth certificate of me from 1920 where my name is Juliet Levy. And there's other versions of me that have come forward with different names, yeah? So we've been made to think that we're certain people, and to be in certain circles, and to think that we are much less than who we are, but who really benefits about us being that character. So the second question is, who would you be without this story about yourself? So who would you be if you weren't you right now, in the here and now? Who would I be if I wasn't Julia? If I wasn't AnchorHaven? If I wasn't Telanaya? If I wasn't Alane Bra? Who would I be? And there's a mundane version of me before I allowed myself to fully feel into the Starseed, the priestess or witch, you know, however you identify. And there's that 9 to 5 version of you, but who benefits from that 9 to 5 version? Who benefits from keeping you in those cycles of frustration and, you know, keeping you small like that without you fully able to utilize your powers and your memories? It's not us that benefits, it's the controllers of this matrix. So the third question was, when did you decide this was true? So when did I decide that I was Julia? It's because you're told it. So when did I accept that to be true? That there wasn't anything more than to me than the mundane, the 9 to 5, they get a job, they get married and have kids. When did we decide this was true? Yeah? When did you decide that that is all that you are? The fourth question is, what will happen if this changes? What would happen if you made that change today to remember who you truly were? If you realized that you had a fear of becoming who you were, that you had a programmed fear of being strong, being the warrior, being the soldier, being the multidimensional being, because those programmed fears of being free, of being happy, of really feeling into your energy, of remembering your lifetimes, those fears are programmed. And we've allowed ourselves to experience that because of acceptance of this reality. So what if we decided today collectively that this was the movie, this was the Matrix? Yeah, that this was just a created space to keep everybody mundane, to keep everybody giving away their power, to keep everybody frustrated and sad and lonely and depressed, because there's beings in this reality that feed off that energy, that loosh. So who benefits from us thinking that we're less than? It's quite an interesting question. And this past month, this past 4 weeks, I've been forced into a reset of my energy, of who I am, because I've been undergoing this ankle surgery. And I had people that told me I shouldn't get this surgery. I had people that said, can't you just heal yourself? And yeah, I have tried to heal myself. I've tried to heal this body a lot in the last 20 years. And what happened was bone spurs on my foot and ankle. So the body tried to repair itself and it did a poor job. So then those bone spurs grated down and it happened again and again. So even though, yes, I am a Reiki master, healer, quantum crystal therapist and things like that, and I do my own personal healing, and there's lots of people in our community that assist in my healing and things like that. I've got good friends and family. There's limitations to this reality. Maybe those limitations are there because I allowed them to be. I decided it was true. So, but what I realized in getting this surgery done, it was a very overdue reset that was needed. And 2025 for me is a reset. The numerology on that and the number 9 is like that phoenix energy. So all of us are remembering, all of us are waking up. All of us know something is different here, and in a way that's been expected, that a lot of people will awaken at this point in time, and it's even supposedly there in your military files that, you know, they know that your memory is going to start coming forward at this point in time. So So yes, I forced myself into a reset by making myself immobile. I've been hopping around on one leg for the last 4 weeks, and it's been really challenging. My friends and family have done a really good job in taking care of me. They have, but the time that I've been alone and I've been running my own healing programs, I've been alone with my thoughts in a way because I've not been able to do my work the same way. I've not had clients booking in. I've not been doing my one-to-one therapies with people. I've not been doing my one-to-one readings hardly with people at all. So my mind has been going into overdrive of what's going on with me. And I've been doing hours and hours of meditation and vision questing and allowing myself to recall memories and to putting out the call to integrate alters. So alters are versions of me, some are outside of me and some are within me. So as part of the trauma-based mind control programs like Monarch and Umbrella and Ibis, Kruger, all the other ones that come up in my ACO file, trauma is done to children in this reality. And that's happened to mind fracture you, to program versions of your mind, a bit like multiple personalities, yeah? And it's been done by the dark forces on this planet to use your abilities for their own gain. And this happens from when we were small. And who benefits from that? It's not us. We don't benefit from the trauma. All we know is that we're programmed into this world a certain way, and there's things that we've forgotten and not been allowed to see. And as I'm starting to reconnect to my childhood, to ask those hard questions of why don't I have memories from my childhood? Why are there massive gaps there, huge gaps in my childhood? I asked a question on the Ivan Teller webinar recently about a near-death experience I'd had when I was young in a swimming pool, a drowning experience. And I allowed myself to wonder, how did I have that experience and nobody but my dad knew? And why was it never spoken about? So when I asked the question, was that a real experience or was that a screen memory? Was it covering up something else? And I was told it was a real experience. And it was an initiation in a way. And this was like when I was 8 to 10 years old. I think I was younger. So I'm pretty sure my mum was home and my parents divorced when I was 8. So I might have been 6 or 7 even. And it was an activation experience to activate the psionics, so the psychic abilities that are used in the military for warfare and stuff like that. So yeah, my mum was home. So I was definitely before I was 8 years old. So I might have been 6 or 7, which makes it even worse, I think. So I was alone in a swimming pool with a man. And even though it wasn't for very long, that man pushed me under the water and made out it was a game of some kind, but I was held under the water until I left my body. And then I saw my dad like diving into the pool from under the water. I saw my dad rescue me. And I don't know what happened after that. I've got a vague memory of the car drive home, of going through the tunnel that we have here between Liverpool and where I live, and that's about it. So I'm allowing myself to bring forward some memories that are traumatic. And integrating trauma is not easy, and there are support groups in our community. Misha Johnston hosts support groups. I do wellness groups, and there are opportunities on my wellness groups to talk about things at least once or twice a month. We just have a coffee evening wellness group where you can talk about things that are going on with you and just allow yourself to speak and be heard. A big part of priestess work is sacred listening. So Ascension Assistance is my priestess work, so me helping you discover what's going on in your life and giving you that platform to just talk and be heard with non-judgmental time, and I can give you my point of view from my experience of things that I've gone through, or we can pull cards and we can see what's coming up for you to allow you to heal and things like that. I work in the Akashic Records, and I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years now. And I was always thinking about me in this body or past lives. Then I started to introduce the parallel lives into the records, and moving into the galactic lives into the records. But now when I go into my personal records, I'm going to be asking for doorways to come forward that are where memories are hidden and things like that. I'm working with my guides to see what's been hidden, and I know that's not for everybody. Most people in the community, when they're ready to approach their SSP type stuff or their trauma-based stuff, they will go to a hypnotherapist or a QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, but there's not so many people in the community that are trained to understand the multi-dimensional aspect. So there are some out there. So you can always reach out to me privately, but people like Matthew Mordian and Drago Reed and Marie, and I'm going to get her last name wrong, Margilis, I think her name is. Some people are aware of the space programs and the multidimensional trauma-based mind control type programs. So when you go to a general therapist or a general hypnotist, they're not going to be aware of what questions to ask or how to get through the Winter Soldier type programming that's there. So I did have a session of QHHT with a friend, and I just knew at the back of my mind that he would never be able to access the stuff that I need to access because of the beta programming that's there. And beta programming has come into my awareness recently. When I was in therapy on the Misha support group recently, and the question we were asked was, what ETs have you seen in your experiences? And I realized I haven't seen any ETs in my memories. There's no ET, there's only human faces or soldiers or scientists. There's no ET. And what I was advised was that sounds like beta programming, because there is a fear base there of me fearing the ET, of me fearing the extraterrestrials. And when we talk about extraterrestrials, we're not always talking about aliens. We're talking about humanoids off-world as well. So in my mind, for some reason, I'm not seeing the ET. It's been blocked out. And this is something I'm going to be exploring a bit more. So what beta programming do we have? What programming is hidden away at the back of your mind and is influencing you right now? And that's quite scary to think about. And a lot of this stuff is scary. A lot of this stuff is fear-based, because that's how they keep us under control. So if you are a starseed, if you're a light worker and you're coming forward now and you know that there's so much more to the love and light stuff that you see out there, if you know that there's real experiences that you've had that you can't explain, that you're getting fragments of memories coming forward, it's time to go deeper. It's time to go deeper. It's time to know that you are a multi-dimensional soldier that's been used across time and space, and it's time to go deeper. Yeah, so I'll just leave it there for you guys right now. But when did we decide that this reality was true? So take care, guys. If you want to book in with me directly, or if you want to have a chat with me, please visit my website, AnchorHaven.co.uk. You can find me on all social media platforms as AnchorHaven. And if you'd like to book in with me and be a guest on my Mystical Wellness podcast, please do let me know. I'm always looking for interesting people to come on and talk about their healing journey. I have a group on a Monday and a Wednesday at 8 o'clock UK time, where we have people from my AnchorHaven groups, and we do like a closed studio recording, so you can come on, you can talk about whatever you're passionate about. If you're psychic or you do readings, and you could do that in the group environment as well, so you can get real-time feedback and that kind of thing. And then I put it on my YouTube, and I will be updating my Rumble and my Spotify and everything very soon. At the moment, I'm really trying to heal. I'm taking things very, very slowly. I'm still trying to maintain my 12 groups a month. And I've got some really exciting things coming up in the next 3 months, starting in August. On the 31st, I'm doing a online retreat with Soma Ara, Atlantis Awakened. This was meant to be an island, but I'm not able to travel to Ireland right now. And it's just €33, which is like £30. So, or $38, I think, American. So do take a look and book in. If you'd like to get some answers, we can do an Akashic reading to generally look at the energies that are affecting you right now. And it all starts with emotional healing. This kind of work all starts with acknowledging emotions, acknowledging things that might be carried forward from past and parallel lives, or even from your super soldier lifetimes. And we can have a look into that with the Akashic. So I do work with different oracle card sets. So if you're interested to know your Starseed lineage, I can work with different decks for that. If you're interested to know if you've been in these military programs or ET programs or whatever it is, I've got the Experiencer deck as well that I can look in to help you with that. But not all information comes forward right now. Information comes forward in drips and drabs when you're ready to receive that information. It's like your higher selves, your guide team tell you what you're ready to know at this point in time. So it really is a long discovery process. So I've been on this journey for a few years now, and the memories that I got 2 years ago or 18 months or a year ago are things that I'm decoding now. And the last 6 months I've had a lot more information come forward when I've been talking to people in the community, when I've had that session with the ACIO through Jessica Ariel Morocco and Peter the Insider. Information came through which I know to be true, and I felt it in my body, I felt it in my core being. But yeah, there's other things that we need to allow ourselves to work into. So these hard questions, what will happen if this changes? So what will happen if your life changes today and you were to admit that something happened when you were a child, or something happened in outer space and you really did go to Moon or Mars or another planet, or you're on ship? So what would happen in your world if you acknowledge that? So these are quite deep questions. But if you weren't the person that you always thought you were, what would your life look like? So take care, everyone.